video is about specialized cells. So, what do you understand by the term specialized? It means that some cells which are very special. How cells can be special? Like everything has a purpose, these specialized cells have some special functions. In our body, there are two types of specialized cells, or you can say the cells are of two types. Either the cells are diploid or they are haploid. Haploid is the terminology that we use particularly for the germ cells, those cells which are produced by meiosis. Now, what is meiosis and what is mitosis? This we'll learn in our next video. But in today's video, we are going to talk about the structural adaptations of these cells and how their structure is specific for carrying out their functions. For example, whatever structures are made, they have a specific purpose for it. You can see that this is the diagram of a sperm cell. Sperm cell has a very large cytoplasm. Why? Because it needs nutrients. Similarly, it has a large nucleus because it is responsible for the gamete information. Then they have their own mitochondria. We have studied the function of mitochondria, that they are responsible for energy. And they have a tail to swim. And you can see they have a tip which is called as acrosome. They have the ability to penetrate into the egg cell. So this is how the sperm cell is adapted for its function. If we talk about the egg cell, which is the largest cell of the human body, it is having its mitochondria because it also needs energy to carry out its function. Then they have a nucleus. In the nucleus, they have the same function of the genetic material. Then they have a cell membrane, which is basically fused by the sperm cell. Okay, then we have these cells. Okay, so now let's talk about some special cells that are present only in the animals. As we can see that the red blood cell is of biconcave shape. The biconcave shape allows it to increase the surface area. It has hemoglobin, which allows it to bind with oxygen. It has no nucleus, which allows more space to carry oxygen. So the basic function of the red blood cell is to transport oxygen. Next, we have a nerve cell. The nerve cell is again specialized for its function. It has a large nucleus, it has axons and dendrites which transmit the nerve impulses. Nerve impulses are supposed to be transferred from one nerve cell to another nerve cell, so they have very delicate axons. Synapses speeds up the reaction of the nerve impulses. Okay, so that's why they have a fatty tissue layer, fatty sheet around it, which allows the very speed transfer of message. Okay. Next, we have a ciliated cells. Cilia, the function of cilia is to beat. Now, when the cilia beats, they allow the mucus to go out from your respiratory tract into the esophagus. Again, it is having a very special function. Let's talk about the plant cell now. Here I am drawing the root cell. This is the palisade cell, and the last cell which we are going to discuss is a xylem cell. Okay, so they all are having some special functions because of they having a special structure. Like we look at the root hair cell, they have elongated tail-like structure which allows it to absorb more nutrients and water from the soil. This adaptations allows the root hair cell to absorb more and more nutrients. Okay, they have a long thread-like structure which increases the surface area to volume ratio. In the exam, if they ask you to write down the adaptations of a root hair cell or how a root hair cell is adapted to carry out its function, you are going to mention that it has a thin cell membrane, one cell thick membrane, which allows fast diffusion. We have studied that diffusion happens fast if there is a very small cell membrane. And if you have not find out what is diffusion, you can see in my next video, which is all about diffusion and active transport. Okay, now this has you can say it allows the molecules to move very quickly because it's a very thin cell wall. Then it has no chloroplast because it does not need to carry out photosynthesis. They are in that region of the soil where there is no light coming, so that's why they don't need chloroplast. That is going to be an extra space covering for that. Okay, now let's talk about the other cell that is specifically in plant. It's the xylem cell. They have bottom walls, they have no end walls, and xylem is just like a straw having a hollow center. Xylem cells are basically dead, okay, but they have to transport water to very higher plants, so that's why they have a lignified cell wall. What is meant by lignin? Lignin gives them extra strength, and this lignin is responsible to support your xylem vessel. Basic function of xylem vessel is to transport the water, right? So then it transports the water in continuous column without any interruption. At last, we have this Specialised cell, which are having chloroplast, which carry out photosynthesis, and they are located in the upper epidermis. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.